What's good, you guys? Elite Live Streams. We back Friday night live. What's good? How you guys doing out there? Brandon B. Elite Live Streams. You know I had to pull up on a Friday night. It's a beautiful Friday night. Hope you guys had a great week. You feel me? We about to get into it tonight. I got a really great topic. This one's going to be an add-on to a previous video that I did about my career in fashion and just kind of my corporate resume. So make sure you guys check that one out. Once this live stream's over, I'm going to make sure I link that video right underneath this one, just so you guys can kind of get a startup of where your boy started, okay? So this one is going to be kind of a continuation on that. I wanted to talk a lot, I guess, more so just about my journey through corporate America, how that influenced me, and also how Black Americans have dealt with corporate America, the loops, the obstacles, the BS that we have to deal with as Black Americans, just trying to be out here, just trying to make it. Of course, yes, the landscape is a beautiful country, right? We're from a beautiful country full of opportunities and many of things that you can accomplish. And I'm not here to bash that at all. But what I am here to do is keep it real about how if you're going to choose that route, these are going to be the obstacles that you're going to have to deal with. And of course, I think sometimes it gets very convoluted, right? Because everyone tries to look down on the Black American experience, right? And they go out of their way to say that Black Americans have it easy, right? That's at least kind of the consensus of what people like to say when it comes to Black Americans, our career paths, our schooling, how we carry ourselves, all that good stuff. So today, I feel like I kind of wanted to deep dive into what I think, or what I've at least come across when I've seen a lot of Black Americans and what they've had to deal with when they've been in corporate America or they are currently in the workforce. We're just seeing right now in 2025, the layoffs are absolutely out of hand. There's so many people who are getting laid off, specifically Black Americans, right? Who are dealing kind of with what's been happening with the regime, the MAGA regime. DEI gets thrown out, all these other programs that, in my opinion, have benefited not only Black Americans, right? But it's benefited everyone, right? The immigrants, everyone who's come over here to benefit from what the Black Americans have set forward. So yeah, I definitely feel like what's happening right now is definitely an attack on Black American careers, Black American affluence. And I wanted to speak on that because I've definitely gone through it in my own way, being a person who's worked in corporate America for over 18 years, guys. It's crazy to say this, but 18 years altogether, right, with corporate fashion. Also, I've worked in off-price retail, right? So a lot of people who don't know what off-price retail is, we could talk about it real quick so I can give you guys a quick synopsis and kind of just my background as well, right? So we'll bring this up right here. Boom. These are off-price retailers, right? These are considered the top 4. Now, I can't specifically say who I worked for because, of course, I'm not trying to implicate myself in a lawsuit for talking shit. But I worked for one of these 4. All right, we'll just say that. Okay. They have headquarters. A lot of people don't know that, but there are a lot of headquarters here in Los Angeles, and then there are also a lot of headquarters over on the East Coast, right? New York, New Jersey. Okay, so coming from that background, working in those spaces, I will say that 100% without doubt that is predominantly 90% white folks who work at these institutions that I just listed right here, specifically white women. All right. Just is what it is. Okay. Fashion in general is a industry that is completely dominated by white women. That's just what it is. Okay. That industry from top to bottom is considered, in my opinion, their industry. Right. And so working in corporate fashion, coming from that background, I definitely had to go through my hoops being a Black American and also being a heterosexual Black American. Okay. These things a lot of people don't talk about, right? Being a heterosexual male, being a Black American in these spaces where my resume, like I said, I will hope you guys go and link that video that I have on my channel. But my resume being so rock solid, right? Me coming from a couture background, okay? I didn't come from traditional off price, right? A lot of these people, a lot of these women, a lot of these young men, they came straight out of college and go right into off price. And that is their experience through fashion. Me, I actually went a traditional route through fashion. When I graduated high school, I interned at J Brand Jeans as an intern, a manufacturing intern, started from the bottom, right? Also at that time, I was going to college at Cal State Dominguez Hills, working my way up, okay? So as I'm going through my journey, it's not necessarily in off price. I actually was working in grassroots fashion brands, okay? So that's how I kind of started, right? And so as I worked my way up, right, you going from denim, I'm in also working at Adidas Originals, and I'm doing a lot of, you know, slow progressions, right? Eventually ending up at Vivienne Westwood, being there, working under Cristiano Minchio, and just being able to soak in kind of just that lifestyle, right? But at the same time, I have to understand and state this. As Black Americans, we have to do twice as much to get just as far. Okay, so that didn't come with a lot of sacrifice on my end. That didn't come from a lot of hard work on my end, a lot of me putting myself out there on my end, advocating for myself, right? Because a lot of times there isn't necessarily a path in these lanes, right? And so having to kind of figure that out on my own, asking the right questions, linking up with the right people, right alumni, I was able to work my way through corporate fashion all the way up into fashion couture, which is the top level if we're talking about anything in fashion. If you work in fashion, if you ever worked in fashion, couture is the top of the top, right? It's like any other brand. If you're working at a Louis Vuitton fashion house, I was working at Vivienne Westwood, which is right adjacent to that, okay? So coming from that, right? Coming from that experience, then as well taking that off into kind of, you know, exactly what I was doing, there was definitely going to be a competitive nature when I'm coming into a company that a lot of people are just traditionally working in off price. So you're coming in, you already know what you're doing. They see your resume, you're moving how you're supposed to move, not getting caught up in the office politics, staying out of the office politics and the drama. That always rubs those people the wrong way. So what we're going to do first is bring up a video that I saw that came across, and it really just made me feel some type of way because I know exactly this feeling. So I'm going to bring this one up right here for you guys. And this one is from the African Diaspora News Network. Shout out to Philip Scott. I love their channel over there. But yeah, let's take a look at this quick video real quick. Okay, guys, let's take a look.
You know, the folks really get offended when we just stay quiet on the job. We not bothering nobody. We doing our job, but they get so bothered. Case in point, I want you to listen to what this sister is dealing with them.
She's still mad that I don't talk. Like,
you know, if something happens,
that's why I don't talk to you. Because I'm messy.
We don't want Ada to be talking about it because then it makes everybody,
and it's like
it brings everybody into it that doesn't belong in it.
That's like walking on eggshells all day.
Can I say something, please?
Okay, but I don't want you to raise your voice.
I'm not. But I just feel as though a lot of y'all are mad because I don't sit up and gossip with y'all. That's what you do. You set up. You talked about Jessica when I first got over there. Did you or did you not?
Now listen, this happens so often where the office politics are going on, and as Black Americans, all we want to do is come and work. We want to do our job. We want to get paid. We want to do our job at a high level, okay? Because we enjoy what we do and we take pride in what we do, right? So when we're coming into any establishment, any headquarters, we're focused on what? The task at hand, the job that has to get done. That's it. We ain't trying to get caught up in all that mumbo jumbo that they be doing, and that they are trying to, like I said, see if we will participate and actively participate, because once you are in it, they can have that dirt on you. And us, we don't like to have anything on our name, because we already know when we come into any establishment, there's already going to be some level of slight towards us, some level of very, very reserved, right? They're going to make sure that they handle us very, differently than they do everyone else. And that's what she's alluding to. It's like, yeah, you wanted me to get caught up in y'all drama, and I didn't want no parts in that. And y'all mad that I didn't join in y'all foolishness. And I love that. Shout out to that sister.
Yeah, exactly. You got mad that you're mad that I'm not responding to that. I don't have to talk to y'all about anything besides work. Is that true or is that not?
That is true.
Okay, so what else are y'all mad about? I'm not training with you. You don't say nothing to me. You don't say good morning to me. You don't say anything to me. I don't even know where the animosity came from. Michaela didn't even say anything to me yesterday. I had to ask her, hey, am I training with you? I think so.
And that's what happens when they know that you're not willing to play into the game. You're not willing to join in on the foolishness. They will start acting funny towards you. They will try to alienate you. They will try to isolate you just because they know that they can't, run the plays on you like they would the normal. You feel me? Normally, that's what happens at these spaces, right? They make you simulate into their BS, right? And then once you're simulated into their BS, they can figure out ways to manipulate and control the situation, right? But when you don't want any parts in that rubs them the wrong way, right? Because you don't want any parts in the foolishness. You're good. I'm good. I don't want any parts in this. But they always want to have parts in that. And that's why it's very, it's very strategic how a lot of Black Americans have to move, because like I said, we don't have allies at the workplace. Even sometimes where people who we would think would be on our side, they're not. So we have to be really careful and watch our own backs.
Did you or did you not?
I did.
Exactly. So communication works both ways. Y'all not gonna keep trying to treat me a certain way, and y'all not gonna try to single me. Y'all not gonna try to single me out, and y'all not gonna keep trying to treat me no type of way.
Everybody needs to
That's all I'm
professional.
Correct.
Do your jobs, and that's it.
Correct.
No
Exactly.
gossiping.
When we go to a job and they give us our job description, what it may be, and they may say, okay, you have to work with a team of people. Okay, and you work with this team of people. You talk about the job, the project, whatever you got to get done. And then after you finish with it, you just kind of just be quiet. You kind of just either working on something or you just whatever you're doing, right? Just quiet. Maybe you're reading. They cannot stand when a Black person just minding their own business. They're not participating in any kind of gossip. They're not interacting with them. They hate when we don't tell them our business.
And I'm big on that. I don't fraternize. I don't like to get caught up in any after work activities outside of people who I just don't trust. And that, maybe that's my own PTSD. I'm not sure. But at the end of the day, it is self-preservation for a lot of us as Black Americans to be able to make sure that we are keeping these things separate, right? Work is not friends. All right. A lot of these people are not our friends at these jobs. And so us being as mindful as we always are as Black Americans, watching our back, making sure that we don't get caught up in all of the office BS, right? The goal usually for us is to go to work, do our job, and go home, right? Handle our business, be able to do what we got to do, get paid, and then go about our day, go about our business. But the fact that I think a lot of times they enjoy kind of that, game, right? Where they can put us in a part of this, adding us into things that we aren't necessarily trying to be involved in. I think they enjoy that part of it. And that's why it's like, you got to be careful as Black Americans in corporate America, because there is no real allies that we have on these, offices, sales floor, wherever you want to be at.
Like where we going, who we married to, who we dating, where we're going on vacation. They want to know every part of our life. And if we just choose not to divulge in any of that, and also when you work on the job, make sure your page is private so they can't get access to any of your pages or whatever, because they'll be nosy.
I have a crazy ass story about this, guys. Okay, so let's set the stage. Hold up. All right, let me set this stage real quick. All right, so look, when I was working at one of these retailers here, right, I was totally indoctrinated in like corporate America, right? So when you're indoctrinated in this, they make you all go on LinkedIn, right? I don't know anybody of y'all in the chat. Let me know if y'all have LinkedIn, whatever. But you're on LinkedIn. My superior, the person who was above me, she would literally every single day. You know how you can see people who view your LinkedIn? She would check my LinkedIn every single day. It made me feel so weird that she was watching my LinkedIn all the time. I couldn't handle it. It made me feel some type of way because I just didn't want her watching me for whatever reason. I just didn't understand why, you feel me? And I think, you know, for whatever reason, looking back, like I said, my resume and my history, right, in corporate America is very rock solid. And so I think it can be intimidating to a lot of people when they see this person, this black person, right, this black man, right, with a very rock solid resume who holds himself in a certain way that isn't easily manipulative. I carry myself like I'm a boss because I am a boss, right? And you have to have that type of mentality to accomplish anything in life. You feel me? And especially as Black Americans, that's just how we are. We're very confident people. We understand ourselves, we know ourselves, and we come into a room with a certain level of confidence, right? Not a superiority complex, right? We come into an office, we come into a boardroom, we come into any space that we're in. As Black Americans, we are going to take up space just based off of our energy and our aura. And sometimes that can be very uncomfortable for them folks because they aren't used to that, right? They're very used to, like I said, those other people who consider themselves allies who play in our face, right? The ones who assimilate, the ones who are very, very subservient to how they are, right? I'm not like that. Just like they can be sharks and like they can be very, very savages in the boardroom, I'm like that too, right? But they don't like it when you are that way, right? When you're matching the energy, you have the same vigor and the same ambition as they do. It makes them uncomfortable because we are coming from a place of substance, like I mentioned, right? My resume being so rock solid, me always being on top of my game, me being the first one in the office, all right, and the last one to leave every single day. That makes people uncomfortable. They can't handle that. You see a brother coming in, fresh suits, you know what I'm saying? Completely tailored to perfection, all right? Everything custom, okay? That part makes people uncomfortable, all right? Knowing yourself, knowing how to carry yourself, understanding your business, right? When it came to fashion, when it came to corporate fashion, I am that dude, all right? Everybody knows me because of this, all right? Regardless if, you know, I'm on social media right now, I've been ramping up the whole social media thing. Yeah, that's what's up. But at the end of the day, when it comes to this fashion stuff, when it comes to this, you know, lifestyle that I'm living right now, I've been doing this for a long time, y'all. And so when I chose and I made the conscious decision to put myself in these corporate spaces, I bring that same confidence. I bring that same vigor. I bring that same assertiveness to any room that I put myself in. And so when I'm on that level, right, when you're in that space, when you're thinking that way, as a Black American, that is going to make them uncomfortable because they think that you're coming for their job. And most times we are qualified for it. We're much more qualified than they are. And that's just the facts, right? Because like I mentioned earlier, we have to work twice as hard. Okay, we have to put up much more better numbers. We have to be much more accurate. All right, we can't make any mistakes. We don't have any room for error as Black Americans in corporate America. We don't get second and third chances. Every chance that we get, every opportunity, we have to maximize it. Max that shit out, right? And so for me, like I said, coming from couture fashion to off-price retail, right? People are going to look at me as the threat because I come from the traditional route of what they always, imagined their fashion careers would be. A lot of these people who work in off-price, they romanticize the lifestyle that I lived when I was living that couture high fashion lifestyle. All right. So when you're on that side, you're coming to this side, there is a certain type of smug, right? Sabotage energy that they want to have towards you because they understand that you are coming from what they wish they had. And so, like I said, from my perspective, coming in, right, these places, this person, this girl who was, my superior, she would literally terrorize me every day, y'all, stalking my LinkedIn for no freaking reason. I don't know why, but she was so obsessed. It was so weird. Like, girl, like, get off my sack. Like, it's cool. Like, I understand. You feel me? You ain't on that couture shit. You ain't made that level yet. That's cool. But look, I'm here to do what I got to do. I'm here to do my job. I ain't here to take nothing from you. You know what I'm saying? Let me help you understand how to get to where you're trying to get to. Stop being so scary.
You're on any of your social media, your Facebook, if you got a TikTok, if you got whatever, right? Now YouTube, if you got a YouTube channel, they're gonna be on there. Trust me, I know they will be on there and trying to look to see what you're saying or whatever on your pages. All right.
Word.
But they hate that. And there's been so many black people been brought into the office talking about, well, people are saying you're not a team player, or, you don't want to really talk with people too much, and be like, well, do I have to? Like, am I not doing my job? So, no, you're doing your job, but, people just feel like uneasy. I've heard videos, I've done videos where white folks have accused a black person of being racist because they don't want to talk with them.
Listen, man, this is how it goes. Like I told you, like, I'm not the best fraternizer after work type of person, because I've seen so many people who have made that mistake, who didn't even look like me, right? Who were also part of that community, who went out, did too much, got into a scenario where eventually they got a little too crazy, and then they lost their position because they was doing too much. And so I'm one of those people who learns from others. I don't have to do what you do to learn and understand what's going on here. So from my perspective, I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, bro, nah, I'm good. Y'all go out, y'all do y'all thing. I'll see you guys later. I'll see you on Monday, whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, this is all about self-preservation in corporate America as a Black American. Like I said, there's not a lot of us off top. And then on top of that, me being a heterosexual Black male in these spaces, it's even rarer, right? Because I'm here coming from a different perspective as far as like my roots, my morals, how I feel about certain things. I'm not gonna be what they would consider the traditional, right? The traditional Black man that they would want in their office spaces. And so from that perspective, me being me, I'm going to make sure that at every turn, I'm doing what I got to do to take things up to that next level, right? Because I'm an ambitious guy. I'm a productive man. I'm not just going to come into a company and try to just, blend into the background and just do enough to get by. I'm going to try to maximize my opportunities because that's just the background I come from, right? I come from a very high achieving family. My parents, my grandparents, my great grandparents are all overachievers. So I had no choice but to be able to excel and be able to come out here and make a name for myself and also a name for my family, keep that legacy going, right? And so when I came into these spaces, when I was working, my way up through the corporate ladder, I could see the hate. I could see the sabotage and the people wanting to, put me in a box, right? Oh no, we're going to put you over here because we think this would be better for you. Now, knowing that this would be the more difficult task, this would be the more difficult run. And guess who would maximize it? Guess who would take it to the next level? Guess who would come into that same review the next month and those metrics would be maximized? Turning around departments. All right, that was me. You feel me? Because I enjoy a challenge. I enjoy it. Okay, it is an acquired taste for those who are overachievers in life. We rise to the occasion. You tell me I can't do something, you tell me I'm not going to be something, I'm going to show you. And guess what spirit that comes from? Black America. We love to show somebody that we can do something when you can tell us that we can't. Dead ass. We don't fuck around when it comes to that type of energy. All right. When I'm coming into any scenario, I'm going to show you who I am. Right. And I'm going to go further than you're willing to go. Right. Because I know in myself, right, who I am and what I'm willing to do. And so sometimes a lot of them ain't willing to do that. A lot of them are scary. And this is just facts. A lot of them are scared to go there. A lot of them are cool and comfortable. They don't need somebody who's going to come in pressing, smashing the gas, right? They want to be able to keep it cool. And so when you're the person who comes in, hey, yo, serious, dedicated, disciplined, you're not getting caught up in no BS. You want to come do your job, go home. They don't like that, right? Because they want to have something to slow you down. They want to have some dirt on you to make sure that you don't reach the level that they know that you can reach, right? And that's one thing for me, you feel me? Coming from, like I said, that traditional corporate America route, man, I had to really make decisions because I understood my mentality and who I am as a person, and I couldn't compromise myself to fit in because they didn't want to do the work, right? They tell us to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. Okay, we do, and then they try to sabotage the situation.
And be like, where you get that from? What did I say? You know, don't even say nothing. You say anything. It's just you're not saying anything to them. They think you don't like them because they're white or whatever. Like, what? You know, these people, they're weird. They got to know exactly what's in our head at all times. But you know, this is the thing. When you're speaking, people know what you're thinking. When you're quiet, they don't know. And that makes them so nervous. It's when we're quiet.
That's it, man. It's a different energy when you moving off your own spirit. You feel me? You're not trying to get too caught up in anything that's gonna take you off your game, right? I'm staying locked in. I'm a very locked in type of person. I have goals, I have ambitions, I have things that I want to accomplish in life, and I wouldn't be able to do that without the certain level of dedication, a certain level of drive to, you feel me, the task and the overall objective at hand, right? And so for me, being the person that I am, right, I don't mess around when it comes to that type of stuff because love is always going to be a part of what I do, right? And when I'm thinking in that way, when my mind is shifted towards that, yeah, this is all about love for myself, right? I love myself so much that any job that I do, I'm going to do it with everything that I have inside of myself, right? And sometimes, yeah, you have to be careful with that because there are a lot of people who will try to sabotage you on that path. And so, yeah, from my perspective, I've always had to be very careful about, you know, not burning out and not giving everything to these people because they would never do the same for us. You feel me? We all saw overnight during the pandemic how, oh, today, if we decide that we want to cut off all these jobs and everybody has to go home, they could do it. They didn't give a F about none of us, okay? All the problems and stuff that stemmed after that shit was absolutely diabolical, right? It messed up our entire economy so bad that there is still ramifications till today, right? Some people never recovered from the pandemic, and we all went through that together. And so ever since then, we've been seeing, you feel me, a huge pushback against corporations and against how they treat their workers, how workers are easily thrown away who have dedicated their lives to these companies. All right. Gone are the days of people working 50, 60 years at a certain company. Some people can't even get to 5, 4 years, 2 years, not even one sometimes. Right. And so we're starting to see this huge influx and almost a movement, right, of people who are, you know, going out of their way to speak out against this stuff. And I'm all for it because, like I said, I worked in these spaces. I've been here. And I'm gonna speak my truth about this because I was dead dirty in my own way. You feel me? Am I bitter about it? No, because I'm in a great space. I started my own business. Everything is great. But at the end of the day, not a lot of people are blessed like I am. A lot of people don't figure it out, right? A lot of people are cooked after they get laid off or something happens to them. God forbid they leave a company, right? God forbid they don't have the money or the windfall to be able to save some money in case something bad happens to them. Some people get sick during work, right? And then they can't come back from it. So yeah, from my perspective, it ain't easy going through these things, right? So I pulled up another video just to show you guys, to add in kind of the same sentiment that I was talking about. But this is the brother Torre, and he had a video about this woman, Miss Barry Wise, who is, I think she's like the NBC new president or something, and they did some layoffs, right? A big sweeping layoff through NBC, and guess who was the recipient of those layoffs?
Here's a shot of Barry Weiss at CBS on her way to fire all the black people in the building. One of the first things she did was to eliminate the race and culture unit, because who gives a fuck about that shit? There's also this because, of course, she was a DEI hire. And a young producer, Tony Sherman, says he got dumped, and all the black people on his team got dumped, and all the white people got reassigned.
I just got laid off from my job at CBS, and every producer on my team who got laid off is a person of color. Every person who gets to stay and will be relocated within the company is a white person.
This is just how it goes, guys. All those sweeping layoffs, all those company layoffs, all that stuff that goes on is usually like this, right? The first people to go are usually the Black Americans who are a part of these organizations, right? It's unfortunate that this happens all the time, but it happens so much. And this is also why I'm still trying to understand, right, how so many people were, screaming about DEI and all this other stuff, right? But it's like, yo, like, you guys do understand, like, it doesn't just affect us, it affects you guys too. And so we've been seeing that a huge influx of not only Black Americans getting laid off, but women in general, not just Black women. All right. A lot of women in general have been getting laid off during these times because they've rolled back DEI, and DEI 100% benefits women and also people of color in general. So this is what we've been seeing, guys. And I'm not surprised because I've been knowing this for a long time.
Now, in my meeting with the executive who told me I was getting laid off, I specifically asked him if
we went from DEI and race-based hiring to race-based firing. I mean, why would a news organization need to have black people in it?
This is just facts, guys. And look, man, I was going through the comment sections, right? And this one really spoke to me, man. It was by this guy. He says, I'm a 68-year-old white man. This is my take. Society tells black youth to go to school, study, get a college degree. Apparently, society leaves out good luck at getting a job while black. And if you get one, good luck keeping it while black. How can anyone pull themselves up by their bootstraps if someone keeps taking away the bootstraps? What a great comment. What an insightful comment. Because this is what I love about YouTube sometimes, is the fact that comments are the real world. It's real life. So when you look in the comments, you can get that response from real people who feel a real type of way. And this is really what it is, man. This is just how we is. We've all bought into the propaganda, unfortunately. We all bought into the propaganda, right? Go out as a Black American, you get a job, you work hard, you go to school, go to college, you get a job, you work hard enough, you'll rise up through the ranks. But they don't understand that there's way more to this. The integral systemic racism that is 100% attached to corporate America and the competitive nature that a lot of these YT people have towards us has to also be accounted for, which it will not. Right. And so I think that, we look at times and spaces where we're trying to, you know, understand what the vibes are and how we can work our ways up, but not understanding that a lot of times those obstacles are 100% there for us to fail. And so from my perspective, I'm always, you know, going to be on the right side of history and speak towards those young brothers who are going to be making their way into corporate America. They are in college right now, chasing those big dreams, right? And so from my perspective, as a, you know, a person who's already gone through this process, who's done it at a high level, I want you guys to understand that everything comes with sacrifice. And so, yeah, you know, us going out there, you know, making great money, being able to live that lifestyle, I 100% encourage you to go out and do that. But just understand what you are up against and make sure that you keep your head on a swivel. Stay on your pivot, because you never know what could happen and how many people can be against you who you think have your back. So from my perspective, as you know, somebody who's been here, like I said, from an unk status, I guess you would say, right? You guys should go out there and really make your impact on the world in whatever you do. If that's working for somebody, do that. If that's having your own business, do that. If that's being a YouTuber, a streamer, whatever you do in life, do it 100%. Put your all into it, and never let anyone tell you that you can't do anything, right? Sure, yes, there will be obstacles that we have to deal with because we are who we are. But at the same time, do not let that hinder you from your blessings, because they're out there, right? You just have to seek them. You have to put yourself out there. In order for anything in life to come back to you, you have to put yourself out there. And sure, you know, we've definitely seen, as you can see here, that when it comes to this system, right, in the corporate America system, there will always be obstacles against us, but it's our goal to make sure as we work through these things, we are, you know, doing our part to break out of that shit, right? Because I see it every day, right? I see a lot of people, especially, you know, content creators and stuff, and it's great to see this, you know, where there was a huge shift, right, from just doing the everyday, normal, regular day stuff to now people are thinking more logically. People are thinking more long term. People are thinking about money and taking care of themselves and pushing themselves to be the best versions of themselves, which is great. But at the same time, we also have to make sure that we are consciously pressing forward to break up the BS that we've had to deal with for so long. Our ancestors having to go through these, you know, corporate spaces where they were deserving to be where they shouldn't have been, right? We see this all the time, man. I feel like there's so many black people, so many black figures who are underpaid, okay, who are underpaid, who should have been way further than where they were. But just because of how we look and the feelings that they have towards us, they cap it out. But we're not going to allow that shit to happen, y'all, because at the end of the day, as a Black American, setting the tone, doing something different, and being able to actually contribute something real, oh yeah, we're going to the next level. Because I've seen, like I said, I've been seeing a lot of these, you know, little videos coming across my timeline and stuff like that, where I'm like, okay, so there is a consensus of people who are going through the same thing that I went through in corporate America. You feel me? People who have gone through kind of the same hoops and obstacles, right, when you're working at these type of companies. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? The corporate side of these companies, the structure, it is set up for them to be able to maximize what they were doing. But from my perspective, I always felt like I was different, and I always knew that I was different, and that's why I approached things in a different way. So from my perspective, guys, I want you guys to continue to keep your eyes open when you are in corporate America. Make sure you're fighting and advocating for yourself, because a lot of these places will not do that. A lot of the HR will go out of their way to make sure that you are not maximizing and reaching the levels that you want to reach. So I was told by, you know, a few of my mentors as I was coming up, right, that you are responsible for your own development. And I'll leave you guys with that. You are responsible for your own development, right? And we as a community are responsible for now creating spaces and job opportunities for the youth so that one day they won't have to be in these same predominantly white T spaces, right? So salute to everybody out there, man. I appreciate everybody who comes through. All the new subscribers, man. Salute to y'all, man. You guys have been really coming through. These last couple of videos I've been dropping have been doing really well. Gaining subscribers every single day. Really, seriously, thank you. Anyone who watches my videos, who shares my videos, who likes my videos, comments on them. We appreciate you guys because we're growing very, very slowly but surely. Right, everything is happening exactly how it should, right? And I appreciate everybody who pulls up and shows love. It's Friday night, so you know what I'm about to do. You know what I'm saying? I ain't dressed this nice for no reason. You feel me? We about to go have a nice dinner. We're about to go talk about life and get ready for the new year. You know what I'm saying? How's the new year for y'all? What y'all looking like, man? How was your year, right? It's November. You feel me? My birthday coming up, December 10th. Shout out to the Sagittarius, Swaggitarius. We out here. It's coming up December 10th. We're going to be turned up, all right? Because it was a great year. You know, all things considered, I want everybody to, you know, have a great time. Be careful out there. It's Friday night. Make sure if you're drinking, don't drive. Uber is available for you guys. Go out there, enjoy yourself. Life is short, all right? Don't get caught up in the BS. Make sure you stay on your pivot. It's a rainy, you know, weekend. I don't know what's going on. That's how it is out here in LA. So drive carefully, be safe. I'm gonna be out here moving around, moving and shaking, eating me some bomb food and doing what I gotta do as a man. You feel me? So salute to y'all. Much love, Brandon B. I'm out. Peace.